What's good, y'all? So in this video, I'm gonna be watching this. I guess something happened with Pokimane's editor, and Moist Critical is going to explain it. I don't really know what's going on. I'm not usually tuned into this side of YouTube, but I keep seeing videos about it, so I'm gonna check it out. So let's get into it
right now that I really want to talk about, but it also made me want
sped up, y'all. I feel like I found like a cheat code for like the longer videos. If motherfuckers is talking a little, you feel me? I just 1.25 speed, period.
to speak on a story I've never told about an experience I've had that's somewhat similar to the one she describes here, at least in terms of creepiness. And, well, now I finally have a reason to get that baby off my chest here, so that's gonna be cathartic. Let's dive in.
Many years ago, when I was like super omega active on YouTube and I was working with a lot of different editors, there was one editor in particular that I would work with a lot because his edits were really good, but he had one major problem, which was that sometimes out of nowhere his videos would just be like a week or two late. Months go by and he messages me out of the blue and he says, "Hey, do you have time to talk? I'm ready to finally tell you why I've been struggling so much with deadlines."
In the history of the human race, I don't think there has ever been a good ending to the sentence, "Hey, do you have a minute to talk?" That always precedes the most vile shit you'll ever hear in your life. I can't even imagine a situation where you'd hear that sentence and think anything other than the most negative thing you'll ever hear is about to happen. Like, imagine you're in heaven and the Lord pulls you aside right in front of the pearly gates and he says, "Hey, you got a minute to talk?" Well, you immediately assume you're just going to hell. Like, there's just no world where that sentence ever precedes good news.
So tired.
He proceeds to tell me that the reason why he would sometimes turn around videos a week or two late is because he couldn't stop touching himself. I was trying to pick which word to use. To me, his, in a way, employer of many months.
Stop for a second and really let that...
I'm already ahead of you, bro. I'm gonna pause for a second, cause what the fuck? I have so many questions. For one, what was she doing in these videos? Like, I'm assuming, doesn't she just play video games or something? Make cookies and stuff? I don't... What was arousing about that? Like, are y'all just weird? And why the fuck did you admit it? Did you think she was about to be like... What was he trying
to... How Coomer-brained must you be, not only to do this degenerate act of just
But to
fucking
admit.
beating your meat to a streamer's gameplay footage that you're editing,
It was gameplay.
but then tell her that the reason you're late on some of the edits is because you can't stop squeezing your hog to the footage that she sends.
He could have said, I don't know, depression, or picked up a new hobby. Okay, it was hard to balance something, anything.
There are so many layers to this onion here. Let's just start by picking apart the most obvious. Why? Now, I know in the most severe cases of porn addicts, they'll sometimes try and communicate directly to the porn star by, like, leaving comments or sending messages or whatever.
Bro.
And that's always the saddest shit you'll ever see. That'll bring a tear to even the strongest man's eyes. Occasionally, you'll see those moments where dudes try and directly communicate to the porn star, leaving comments on their posts saying things like, "Can't wait to watch this one when I'm off work," or "When my wife goes to bed, that's when the bad boy will play. Thanks for providing me with tonight's entertainment," whatever. Like, just leaving these desperate posts, you know, cock in hand, giving a salute, like, "Thank you, madame, for your service.
Never mind.
This will be a legendary gooning sesh." But even in those cases, they're communicating with someone they don't know. This guy was her editor for many months. And he was not only jerking off to the content he was being sent...
Are we allowed these words on YouTube? Like, I thought... I don't know, I've been blocked and striked and had to take little classes and stuff for just reacting and like saying little shit here and there. And he just all out just saying it. I thought we had to censor ourselves and shit. I don't know, maybe because he's one of the bigger ones. Who knows? Somebody teach me. Because at this point, the amount of little strike shits, I'm like, bro, what did I even do? I didn't do shit. I had to do one about like, bro... Yeah, I don't know what that one was about.
Which was just gameplay videos, I imagine, or like just chatting stream moments. Nothing even sexual. And he was still choking the chicken to it, fucking playing the skin flute. and then had the gall to tell her that he was doing that is
Which
just
is
incomprehensibly unhinged. She was his boss. She was employing him. So he basically went right through HR, bypassed that protocol, went straight to the top of the food chain, kicked in the door, and said, "Listen, boss, I'm fucking obliterating my wiener, and what are you gonna do about it? That's why I've been late on my deadlines." Like, I don't think he came in with that energy. I bet he was, like, super shy about it. He was probably like, "Oh, Pokimane, so I know I've been kind of late recently, but it's only because I was, ooh, how do you say, jerking off to your work."
When I tell you I've never halted a conversation so fast, because I'm like, you're the person that I send like hours of footage to. I don't want to know what you're jacking it to. I don't want to know more. I shouldn't even know how much I know right now. I shouldn't know.
I'd actually argue that it's better she did know this, no matter how awful it is, but that way she can get the fuck away from this weirdo ASAP. Just say, "Take a hike, Buster. This is fucking terrible."
But I felt so bad. So when he's like, you know, like, this is like an addiction of mine, I genuinely felt really, really bad.
Oh, girl, that's your first issue. 'Cause why? Why do you feel bad? I'm trying to find where the sympathy would come in. What the fuck? Go get some help and leave me the fuck alone.
So I still paid him for months. What the hell do I do? Fire him?
Yes, yeah. What are we talking about? What's up? Fire him. Am I in hell? Am I in hell right now? Like, what is the converse?
Am I even allowed to fire someone because they're...
That's definitely towards the top of the list for the best reasons to fire someone. That
I was
actually
about
might
to
be
say,
reason
girl,
number
what
one
is we
why
talking
you could go ahead
about?
and can somebody. Because they can't stop fucking beating their cock to you, their employer. And they're also not doing their job well by being 1 to 2 weeks late, which, by the way, is a long time.
You can fire somebody just because you want to, because they're not necessary no more. So okay. I'm not trying to, shame her or nothing, but all of that shit just sounded dumb. I'm gonna be real with you. Pokimane, girl, okay, we have to be a little bit more, like, bitch, you feel me? You can't be like, well, okay, I feel bad for you, so I'm just gonna keep paying you to be a fucking weirdo. Because now he thinks shit's probably cool because he's doing it. And he told you he was doing it, and you kept paying him.
Lines by a week or even up to 2 weeks because he was obsessively polishing his scepter to his employer.
Oh my god, the amount of different phrases he has for this act is insane.
100% can and should fire someone like this. It's not like the Better Business Bureau is going to defend him. You're not going to have agents show up at your door knocking and be like, "Hey, listen, we know what happened here. You discriminated against this kind. Oh, this is a free country, ma'am. This is a civilized society. You can't fire someone for that. There's no crime. What is the charge? Busting a nut? An immaculate, gooey nut? This is..."
Oh, hell no, sir. Ew.
Any human being with a pulse on the planet. If they said they needed voice lines done, I would do them for free just because I really enjoyed doing it. It's actually how I met Jackson, and if you have ever watched the official podcast, you'll know that our X-Men origin story between Jackson and I's friendship is that Jackson actually scammed me through this process. He sent me an email asking if I'd be down to do voice work for his upcoming game, and then sent me some in-game screenshots and promotional screenshots that were actually just Dark Souls images that he photoshopped to fit his game style that he tried to sell me on. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm definitely down to do voice work. And it turns out he never had that game. He just wanted to play games together. And we did. And ended up becoming extremely close friends. And now we make God Slap together. He's been a friend of mine for almost a decade now. And it came...
I don't know. I feel like you just scammed me into a friendship. I don't know how I could trust you. Maybe that's just me, though.
Came from that. But there's definitely a dark side to that. The Sith Lords definitely did exploit that very stupid thing I used to do. Just accepting any voice acting roles ever from anybody. So, I think this was after I had met Jackson and after we were friends. I can't quite remember the exact chronological timeline here, but I received a very interesting email from a very peculiar man that, under any other circumstances, probably would have triggered red flags in a sensible person's mind. But for me, I saw the word voice acting opportunity and I was like, I'm in. Say no more. So I emailed him back saying that I was absolutely down to do this and when should we get to work on it. So we communicated back and forth a little bit and eventually set up a Skype call. Because this is when Skype was still popular. I think one of the best things that's happened in modern day is that Skype has died. That was legitimately just fucking official malware. That was the worst program that ever saw success, and I am embarrassed that it ever got as popular as it did. But this was a different time and day back then. So we went in Skype and we had our first voice call a couple days after that initial email came through. And it wasn't like super weird. He conducted himself pretty professionally. He was trying to tell me about the game. I don't remember all the details around it. It was a game that never was going to happen, though. It was unbelievably ambitious. It was some kind of like MMO hack and slash with like a super deep branching plot lines, all made by him, the solo dev. He was just spamming every buzzword he could about this game, but again, it didn't matter to me because it was voice acting work, and I wanted to get the reps in. And so I just said, yeah, like, I'm super on board. Let's stay in contact. You can send me the script and whatever else you need. And that was kind of the end of our, like, introductory call. And man, did I open Pandora's box. Pretty much immediately after that call, he would start messaging me on Skype often. And it wasn't about the project all the time. Sometimes it was just about his day, which I would engage with. I'd be like, oh, it's really interesting to hear about how your day's been going. Thanks so much for sharing. And then he'd start tiptoeing into, like, some other small talk. It started to feel like he was interrogating me sometimes, where he'd be like, so what'd you do today? And I'd tell him, be like, oh, so, like, you didn't really respond earlier. I thought you were just doing something really important, but you were just hanging out at home. That's kind of weird. Like, what? Are you sure that's all you were doing? I was like, brother, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not, like, always on Skype. He's like, oh, no, that's fine. He just didn't respond to me. And then he'd start gradually asking more and more questions, like questions you would ask someone on, like, the most awkward first date imaginable if you were some kind of Reddit mod. He'd be, like, asking me certain things, like, about anime and just, like, general interests and shit. And this is right before I had graduated college. I was still in college because I remember he was asking me about how my schooling was going. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's going well. How's your project going? And he'd tell me some shit that I know wasn't happening. He's like, oh yeah, I got a lot of work done today on the game. I was in C#, really just fucking in my flow state. I took like the limitless pill, and man, I programmed fucking 15 trees, and I have 17 actors doing mocap for me, and they're all martial arts specialists, so the hack and slash animations are top notch. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Do you have like that
I don't know what the fuck he just said, but I'm trying to follow.
script or anything ready? He's like, oh, it's still being worked on. And then he just keep kicking that can down the road and change the topic. Like, but enough about the game. Tell me about exercise physiology. What's that like? It's like, brother, you're not my mom. Like, why are you checking in like this? I don't care. And we're not really like close or anything. So why would you get upset if I don't like respond to you in a timely enough fashion? Like, it was just a disaster. So this went on for like a few weeks of this kind of stuff happening every couple of days, and I was ready to just wash my hands of it and just say, all right, this voice work isn't worth. I'm not getting the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as they say. So I kind of just started to let that peter out. I'd really very rarely respond to him, so he'd send me like a few messages over the course of like a week or two that I just would ignore. And then it got really bad. This guy was sending me like deep messages, and some of them just very unsettling. And then he eventually sent me a message talking about how he's about to end it all. And he doesn't expect me to.
This took a different turn. I thought we were going the same kind of route that Pokimane was talking about. Well, he was trauma dumping. I know some of them, and sadly, I'll save it for the end.
Me to respond since I haven't responded in so long, but he just wanted me to know how much our friendship meant to him and all that. And I fucking freaked out, immediately responded to that when I saw it, and then he once again just switched gears and was like talking about my day and his day and this and that, and once again, just going down this small talk and then, like, interrogating me, like, well, why haven't you been responding? So then I had to come up with a story like, oh, just haven't been checking Skype for the last few weeks, just stuff going on. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, okay, yeah, I'm sure, and then getting upset and whatever. I recommended him getting, like, professional help, which he claimed he was doing and seeking, but it wasn't really working. The only thing that really helped him was our little chit-chats back and forth.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, he was manipulating. So, see, I feel like in those situations, what you have to do, this is going to sound really bad, but I feel like it's the only thing that's going to work. If you're genuinely nervous that somebody's going to do something to themselves, it's not okay for them to manipulate you into, like, staying in contact with them. I've had that happen multiple times, or manipulate you into feeling like you're the only thing that makes them better, even if it's making you miserable. So you're going to have to figure out what the fuck they live at, right? And once you figure out where they live, call the cops, tell them to do the safety check, Because if somebody's really, you feel me? When they do this little act, get the mofos. I've done it. Somebody was acting like they was gonna hurt themselves, and I was really unsure if they were like trying to manipulate or what. Called them people right on. Sorry, I'm not gonna call the police for much, but if I really care about you, if I'm really worried that you're gonna hurt yourself, it is what it is. Because some people do just manipulate and try to just keep talking to you or keep in contact with you because they know you're going to freak out. They know that's the way to keep you around. And if you call the people on them. That's gonna kind of be like, oh shit. All right, maybe I should stop doing this if they're not serious. And if they are serious, maybe they might be irritated at first, but maybe they'll be like down the line, like, I really appreciate you doing that for me. So I feel like it's
Now, the messages were far less often. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but it still just felt miserable to keep this communication open. It felt like a hostage
and that's
situation.
why, exactly. So that's why you have to do that. Or, again, as bad as this is gonna sound, sometimes your peace is, like I'm saying, if this isn't like a close person, this is like this kind of relationship. Sometimes you have to kind of just do as much as you can and say, you know what, it is what it is. I hope you don't, but I cannot drag myself down any longer. And you kind of have to move forward and just hope.
One of his messages, when I got into a relationship, he sent a really creepy message about, like, well, is it serious? Why is it serious? What do you see in her? That kind of thing. Like, it was all really alarming shit. And I'm not going to keep boring you with details here, but similar to how Pokimane didn't immediately fire that guy because she, like, felt bad for him or was, like, a little afraid of what might happen or whatever, it's easy to take a step back when you're not involved in it and just be like, oh, this is what you should have done. But when you're actually in one of these, like, really weird fucking situations on, like,
I don't know. Unless I understand when you have some type of like emotional connection to somebody. So your mom, your brother, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, best friend, shit. But when it's like somebody you don't really know or whatever, personally, I don't know. Personally, I don't get it. Cause I don't want to say mean, but I've stood my ground in situations I need to stand my ground on. Because you're being a fucking odd person. So get the fuck away from me. Yo, yeah, so this is very odd. Very weird. Yeah, anyways, y'all like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. I'll see y'all on the next one.
personal level here.
Oh, shit.